Okay, so I am Ria. I'm 25. I'm from Oulu, Finland, which is like up north in Finland. So Finland is kind of separated the way that it's the capital area in the south. Then there's nothing, and then there's Oulu, like really, really up north. So I'm from there. I started dancing when I was like 16-ish, and it was that nothing about hip hop and stuff like this was a part of my life. And then I went to this street event that was happening in the city, and I saw a crew performing, like a hip hop crew performing. And then I was like, "Ooh, what's that? What is that? I wanna do it." And then I went to a dance studio, and just like so much, all the classes I could take, and then, yeah, a couple of years later, then I was a part of that crew that I saw dancing on the street. So that's funny, I think, that I saw them specifically. Yeah, so I started dancing then and went super like intensely into it straight away. I do hip hop, popping, and house, mostly hip hop and popping, like that I'm specifically focusing on. Yeah, I teach and I organize and stuff like this. Yes, so Finnish scene is very much a baby scene. So the scene isn't so big, there isn't that many people, and to me, comparing the level to like Paris or like France and Germany or even Sweden, the level is not so high, and there isn't as many people. Yeah, but I feel that right now it's like people are starting to push harder and take themselves more seriously, and it's like a baby scene that's taking its steps further, you know. So most of it is concentrated in Helsinki and the capital area, so super south in Finland, and there is a really nice breaking scene, so that's very big, and then hip hop, house, popping, kind of together, and then whacking and voguing is also like picking up, but it's very, very baby steps, but it's like people are starting to get excited about it. In Jyväskylä, which is then like in the middle parts-ish of Finland, there's a lot of breaking, rapping, DJing, like very like the elements of hip-hop kind of scene. And they also have some nice events and stuff like this. So I really vibe with the Jyväskylä vibes. And in Jyväskylä, I think there is this scene that's very like the hip-hop elements, and then next to it there's like more dance school based IDO, bit more commercial type hip-hop scene at the same time. And then in Oulu, where I'm from, which is super up north, there is this event, Oulu Street Dance Festival, that's every year, and it's been going on for 14 years. And there was crews, Sonic School, Oulu Finest, and Natural Hype that are like before, like the generation before my generation, and they were really organizing a lot of stuff, including this event. And when I grew up there, when I was like 17, 18, 19, there was a super dope scene that was very like the community based, and we had like the 17-year-olds were organizing together with the older guys who were like 28, and we were together. There was a organization called PSKT, so PSKT, and we were organizing battles and jams for youth and parties and stuff like this. So when I grew up, my experience of it was very like about the community and stuff like this. Like the Finnish scene is not competitive in the sense that like there is not that many people who are really like going hard and trying to be like the best and stuff like this. It's more like chill. People are just doing it for fun and for hobby and stuff like this. There is some people who are taking it really seriously, but it's more like relaxed. So when you go to events, it's not super like you know, this energy, which I think can be kind of a bad thing as well, because like that's why I feel that we're developing so slowly, is because we're like, but I just do it a little bit and stuff like this, and not so I'm taking myself super seriously and going hard. But I think it's a lot about also this like community vibes and stuff like this, because it's not so much about this like I'm gonna become the best dancer in the world. So it's more about community and like vibing and hanging out. And Finnish people are super like socially like this monotone and low-key. But I feel that maybe then hip-hop and the scene that we have is like a place where people can be more open and more loud and more, you know, like this. But it's still, compared to other scenes, very like, oh, hello, good to meet you kind of thing. Yeah, I'm definitely taking myself more seriously. Like I'm very, very hungry. And I think there definitely is people in Helsinki and otherwise who are taking themselves really seriously. And I think there is this like peak, like really like rising up moment in Finland that people are working hard. And that's what I mean with the baby scene as well, that it's not so big yet, but people are like building it up right now, which is really cool to see. Yeah, for example, like Schizoflex. Schizoflex is doing a lot of really dope stuff, like traveling and picking up mentors and really, really pushing themselves. Also in breaking, there's a lot of people really pushing themselves. Yeah, the breaking scene is really nice, I would say. I'm not a breaker, but friends of mine from Sweden, for example, who have visited for breaking are like, oh damn, Finland really has a nice breaking scene. So, and the events and stuff like this are really cool. Hip hop is a thing, but I feel like hip hop in Finland has a bit of this. It's the commercial side, and then the like not commercial side of hip hop. So the hip hop is like a bit like melt together in a way. So there isn't so big of this like super commercial side, and then there isn't so big of a hip hop side. It's more this like dance studio version of hip hop that is the biggest thing, of like choreographies. Yeah, like it's very dance studio based in Helsinki when it comes to hip hop, I would say. Popping is picking up in Helsinki, and I'm super excited about that. Like when I lived there last year, I was really hyped because I realized how many poppers for real who were like actually training. So how many there were. And I think it's a lot because of Schizoflex, because they have leveled up their skills so much and they're teaching. So now they've been doing it now for some years. So now there's like a next level of students and people who were inspired by them becoming good and training a lot. So whacking is also, I would say, like picking up a bit at the moment. There is house, definitely. I think there was a wave of house maybe like 5 years ago that everybody got super excited about house. So that's definitely there. I feel like it's like there's like a breaking scene, and then there's the other scene, which is like people who do house and hip hop and popping, or house and hip hop, or house and whacking and voguing, you know, like, so all of those styles and that scene kind of goes together, and then the breaking scene is prominent on its own. Well, Inksi is from Finland, but she's been based in Sweden for a really long time, but she's from Finland. And I think a lot of the ones who are more going hard have moved out of Finland. But Flomo crew from breaking, like before for sure, they were doing a lot of shit and still are. So like Focus and then Ate and people like this who, like Ate I think, is judging a lot of stuff in Europe and stuff like this. And then Vera and Jenny Y from Schizoflex, Poppers. I feel like Vera especially is really like making a name for herself at the moment. I really like Ita. She's from Estonia, but she's based in Finland right now, and she's been living there for a long time, I feel. And she's teaching and practicing and doing stuff in house. So her house is very nice. I like it. Yeah, in breaking also, I really hype up Kokose. They're really like their stuff right now is really nice. So they have like breakers and beat makers and rappers inside one crew, and they're organizing like battles and jams, and it's super cool stuff that they're doing at the moment. Oh, Sini, yeah, Sini is organizing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff, and her hip hop is amazing. So I feel that she might be right now inspiring like the youth at the moment, like the 16-year-olds who are like training hard to go into from the commercial-ish side to like this very groove bounce hip hop culture type energy. So she is doing a lot of super nice stuff. I would say that, like I said, that there's the breaking scene and then the other street styles together scene. So in that way, I feel that it's a bit separated. So definitely people inside like house, popping, hip hop, voguing. I feel like we all go to like different events. Like if there's a whacking voguing event, I'm gonna go to that. If there's, you know, and a lot of times they're also together. So in one event, it's like a house hip hop event most of the time. But a lot of the time, it's also that the breaking is put into the same stuff. So there definitely is like a connection with both. Well, obviously now with COVID, it's super different in this moment. But usually I would say that there's a battle maybe like once every 2 months or once every 3 months. So it's quite like rarely in Finland. But in Helsinki, there is Sade ry, who is organizing a lot of workshops and a lot of battles and stuff like this. And then, Call Out Suomi is an organization, and Ramona, I think, is leading it. And it's like an organization that's based in Helsinki, but they have people, like in Oulu there are Call Out Suomi people, and in this city there's people who are in the same organization, and they've gotten, as far as I've understood, they've gotten like funding from government and stuff like this, so they're organizing a lot of stuff, a lot of different stuff, like a lot of youth in like youth centers, just like stuff for teenagers and stuff like this. And then they're also organizing like bigger battles in different places in Finland. So I think those two definitely are organizing a lot of stuff. With COVID, now there's been like online workshops from these organizations quite a lot, and from different like individual people who organize stuff. But normally outside of COVID times, there's battles, and most often it's hip hop and house in the battles, or all styles, like type of vibe. During the summer, there's two very nice events. One is Oulu Street Dance Festival, or Oulun Katutanssit, which is up north in my city. I've organized that event with a couple of friends 1 year. So it's been a thing that's been going on for, I think, 14 years now, this like same event. and it's like a weekend-long thing with workshops and battles and parties, a lot of parties. So that one, maybe I'm biased because I am from Oulu, but that event is so good. And it's like there is this battle aspect to it, but it's so much about this, like people just come together and it's like a weekend-long party vibes thing in the summer. And in Oulu, because it's so up north, it doesn't go dark in the night. So then we're just go to the club for the party, and after the party ends at like 4 or 5 a.m. we go outside, and it's like sunshine, full sunshine, like going to the beach, swimming and stuff like this. This event is really nice. Also in Jyväskylä, there's been an event called Payback Jam during the summer. I think it's still going on after COVID times. I might be wrong on this one, but that one is also very, very nice, and that's more like a jam as well. I think most of the time there's been a battle, but it's more about like, hey, let's come together with all dancers and jam and party and cool times. In Helsinki, a lot of the main events are like battles, and sometimes those events that are like, oh, it's a hip hop battle, can be kind of like, do I want to say this? A little bit awkward. Like the people come there and we're gonna do a hip hop battle, and then people are standing around and waiting around, and then it doesn't have so much of that like just jamming energy to it, which I hope is changing a bit, and people are learning to like bring that into the just the common battle event. The battles that Kokose is organizing and the jams that Kokose is organizing, this breaking crew, those ones have also been like very like party together with dancers, and then also there's a battle kind of thing, and I really like those ones a lot. Yeah, I think also my perspective is very different. I feel like a lot of Helsinki people might not talk about the scene in this way that I'm talking, because in Oulu, when I grew up, it was so much about the community, and then Jyväskylä as a city is like down from like 4 hours maybe down from my town, and then their vibe is also very, it's more breaking based, but it's like very like parties and good time and rappers and DJs and stuff like this. And then sometimes to Helsinki, which is 9 hours from where I'm from. I think the Helsinki experience, if somebody grew up there, is not this same experience that I have about the Finnish scene. It's very much like dance school and dance school performances and dance school. Our dance school goes to this battle, and we go to a school trip to these battles, and then FDO, like IDO, this competition also has a very like, we only have one IDO or like FDO battle, the competition per year, and it's always before the summer. So every dance studio, like if I go to a dance studio and I take these classes, it always aims to that one competition at the end of the year. Because in hip hop in the FDO, it's the Finnish championships. Most people don't see it like that, but it's named like this. But the Finnish championships in breaking has nothing to do with IDO. I think Finland has quite a good amount of like funding and grants for dance organizations, if it's like a non-profit organization, right? So just to organize events, I feel like there is like money in that and possibilities to organize. If you're organizing events, so battle or workshops, maybe, let's say. I think one problem that you're facing is that people aren't very willing to pay for stuff. So like if there's workshops, people are like, but it's so expensive and stuff like this. And then if it's an event, it's super rarely that people pay for events. And there's a lot of like, I feel that the organizers do it for free themselves, you know? So you end up doing a lot of work just to do something for the scene, which is quite normal. But on the other hand, if you, for example, when I was organizing Oulu Street Dance Festival or different people, all of them, every year I feel like we get money from the government for a different, or from the city to organize something like this. Like writing these applications for these grants is quite like, at least for me, very like tedious, and you have to speak in a way of, like write them in a way of like an official fancy writing to get this grant. And as a hip hop person, I don't know how to talk like that. So it is going through this like process. Yeah, I feel like Finland as a country already like has super good social security. So if you're unemployed, if you go to a school, like I'm going to Åsa, to a dance school in another country, and I'm completely being funded by the government to study this here. So that is also, I think, a big thing that affects Finland is that Åsa as a school is so close and we get such good funding as students. So a lot of people go to Åsa to study and it's super easy. Yeah, I think most of the events that are being organized are by organizations that are being funded by some sort of government funding or some sort of grant, and then they do it as a non-profit organization that they use the money to straight put into the event. So a lot of the time the events are free because it's being funded by the government. So, and I think because of that, because there's so many free events, then when there's an event that costs money, people are like, yo, what the fuck? Why does it cost 10 euro to go to this event, kind of thing. I think the scene is very small, but like, for example, Call Out Suomi organized this really big for Finland. Like, it was a battle and an after party, and it was only house and breaking. And people did come for this event from like Russia and Estonia and Sweden, and that was super dope. It was a super, super dope event. And it wasn't even in Helsinki, so it was in Tampere, which is like an hour up from Helsinki. So I think there is like a growing, demand for like legit events, and people do come when something like this is being organized. Oh, one thing that came to my mind now, just about other stuff, is in Helsinki, if you go to Helsinki to go to Kisis, which is Kisahalli, it's this government sports center, but there's these little, there's this hall, and then there's these little rooms next to each other that are like tiny dance. It's called like a loft. I'm going to the loft. And there's like maybe 8 of these little rooms that have a mirror in them, but there's like, it's hard to explain. Yeah, there are these cubicles and people practice at this place, and it costs like 20 euro per month, and then you can go there whenever you want. And you can just walk in and see who's practicing at the time and maybe be like, hey, can I join you guys for practice? And that's like a meeting spot in Helsinki, I think, for like freestyle dancers. Yeah, I think dance studios, there's a Saifa, which is like only street dance styles. And I think that one costs like 15 euro if you take one class. And normally think it depends a lot on which dance studio you're going to, how expensive the like weekly classes are going to be. But I think like if you would go on a drop-in class, I think it's like 15 euros usually the price for regular weekly class. And then I think workshops are, if we bring a dancer from outside of Finland to teach, I think it's like around 35 euros for like a workshop. Maybe. The minimum pay for dance teachers is around like, I think the minimum is 28, but what people usually get paid is around like 34 euros per hour for like weekly just teaching. And then depending on your experience and stuff like this, it might vary from a couple of euros and stuff like this. If I would go to another city in Finland to do a workshop, I think it super much varies how much people are willing to pay and how much people think that it's the right amount to like demand. So I think that one varies from like the regular 35 per hour to like 100, you know, like it just depends on how much you demand for yourself for doing a workshop.
And answer for a battle?
A lot of the time it's free. Like most of the time it's free to go to battles. But if it's not free, then it's maybe 5 or 10 euros, I think. And also about the battles, there rarely is like big money for the winners. So a lot of it is just doing it for fun, kind of like everything is free, nothing pays anything, and we just do it for fun kind of energy. Because I work in the scene, like with the events and battling and stuff like this, and then I teach. So I haven't worked for a company or theater or stuff like this. So I don't know so much about this, but I asked a friend of mine who works more like commercial jobs for, I don't know, music video or background, stuff like this, and knows more people who do like theater or stuff like this. And she said that mostly things are very like, you have to know someone, and then, you know, that for TV, she said that there's certain people who already have those jobs, and the jobs usually only go to these certain people. And then the people who get hired to be like dancers in TV and stuff like this are, for example, students of these few organized choreographers that have those jobs. So it's very like going from a person to person because you know them, you know. Theater maybe has like auditions, like open auditions sometimes, and I think there is one possibility, which is if you want to create like a piece for like a dance piece or something like this, you can get funding for yourself from the government. So I think that's one thing that you can do. But I think there's very little work as a dancer, like just if you would try to live off of just dancing, like not teaching or other stuff. I think there's not so many possibilities. Like I feel like teaching is the job for the street dancer in Finland, definitely. And then like people teach, and then they do some this like commercial performing work on the side as well, and then they might have a different profession at the same time, you know. Go to Oulu Street Dance Festival. That event is so nice. It's the biggest recommendation I have for sure. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Yes, thank you for having me. This was very nice.